r/AskReddit by Redmond Dtes. What is the most surreal this can't be real moment you've ever experienced? My son and I were riding the train in Chicago. He said, "Dad, don't you have a friend from Chicago? Maybe we will see him." I serious doubted, son. Chicago is huge. He got on the next stop. Went to my girlfriend's family's place for Thanksgiving. Like 30-40 people are there. As the food is finally ready, everyone gathers around, and they bring out a flag, and all start singing the Pledge of Allegiance. Legit thought, this is freaking weird. Turns out they were pranking me, and they got me good. I got a message from a stranger saying, "You saved my life." Turns out I'd responded kindly to their random forum post a year prior. This is exactly why being kind online matters. We never know who's on the other side of the screen, or what they are going through. I once hugged a stranger on the street because we started crying at the same time for totally different reasons. Then we laughed like idiots for 10 minutes straight. It was dangerously freezing temps. I had just gotten off work and was broke, was $1 short to get on the bus to get home, and it was too cold and icy to walk home safely. My rich dad wouldn't send me the $1 I needed for bus fare. No reason, he just didn't want to. I went to the library to warm up and try to figure out what to do. Grabbed a random library book, opened to a random page, and there was a folded up dollar bill inside. Not as crazy as some of the other stories here, but I was very grateful. I was born in Lebanon during the war in the 80s, had a best friend which I lost track of, because we were always running from bomb shelter to bomb shelter, from city to city. I migrated to Canada in '89, and when I got to college, I met that friend again. We were in the same college in the same city in Canada. I didn't recognize him, but he recognized me, because my face never really changed. It was the perfect example of the world is too small. Hotel cleaning staff came back to the front desk complaining that they couldn't clean a room due to the alligator in the bathtub. Thought I was misunderstanding something at first. I wasn't. There was literally a decent sized alligator in the bathtub. 3-ish feet long, which in my mind wasn't big enough to kill you, but absolutely big enough that I didn't want anyone going back in there. Turns out he was the animal guy for a magic show. The even bigger shock was that when he came home from the set that day and asked why his room hadn't been cleaned, he told us to our faces that there were no animals in his room now or ever. Held the line through an increasingly baffling and angry conversation, so certain that even I started to doubt reality itself. This continued throughout his weeks-long stay. Housekeeping resorted to taking pictures of whatever weird-ass exotic animal he had in there, and he still denied it. At one point started saying his assistant had been in the room all day, so it was perfectly safe, but no one would be there. He'd be practically foaming at the mouth pissed over it, which was typical, but the bizarre thing was just this repeated insistence that it was perfectly safe, no animals, and then there'd be a freaking capuchin loose in the room. Elephants wandering around just outside of my Midwest town. I figured they must have gotten out of a train car to walk around, but looking over and seeing 4 full-grown elephants was surreal. I once ran into my childhood neighbor halfway across the world, in a random alley in Tokyo. Delivering pizzas in my 20s, and knocked on a door, realized after I knocked that I was at the wrong address. We'll call it 9th Street Southwest instead of 9th Street Northwest. So I was exactly on the other side of town from where I needed to be. As the guy opened the door, I was about to do my "oh sorry I didn't mean to disturb you, have a nice day" thing I usually do at the wrong address, but the guy didn't look confused and was holding money ready to go. Turns out he ordered pizza and accidentally put his address in wrong. Which means I was accidentally at the right place. Our two mistakes perfectly cancelled each other out. To this day I wonder about the actual odds of that happening. It feels like it's way more than 1 in a million. I had a lucid dream at 16 years old that I could fly by flapping my arms. I flew around my neighborhood in the mountains and noticed a house with a blue roof at the corner of Pine Ridge and Hook Creek Road back in the late 70s. The dream was so real. I even went looking for the house, found it, but it didn't have a blue roof. My teleportation fantasy was crushed. Just a dream, but so real. 5 years later I was a crewman on a Forest Service heli-tac crew. We were dispatched to a lightning strike in my neighborhood. I was hanging out the door of the helicopter looking for smoke when I suddenly had a deja vu experience. I recognized the flight pattern from my dream. I freaked because I could predict the helicopter's flight. I predicted accurately the next couple of turns. I gasped as I looked down because the house had a blue roof. I just got big goosebumps remembering. Weirdest shit ever. I had an incredible urge to go to my employee's house. It was weird and overwhelming. I called my mom thinking I lost my shit, and she said to trust my gut, so I went. It felt weird. Who wants their boss showing up after hours? When I got to his house I heard a faint help me coming from inside the house. I kicked the door in, went inside, and the dude had a stroke 24-48 hours prior to my arrival. He was just laying on the floor and would have rotted there had I dismissed that crazy urge. I walked into a bookstore, picked up a book, and it opened to a page with my full name written inside it. In someone else's handwriting. Getting a phone call offering me a job I didn't even remember applying for, right when I was about to give up looking. I thought it was a prank at first. I applied to a job while blackout drunk and suicidal on a library computer with a minute to go before my time was about to expire in the computer lab. The job was in a city 2 hours away from me. I didn't have a car at the time or a place in said city lined up. I ended up getting the job, took a train to get to the interview, landing a spot in said city through a series of crazy events, and ended up working at the job for 4 years. One spring afternoon on about 2013, there had been tornadoes in Oklahoma in the morning. Being in southwest Missouri, I was looking towards the skies for any exciting looking clouds and I think we were under a tornado watch. The local news had told of one tornado in Oklahoma that had destroyed the attics of several homes and lofted material way up into the atmosphere and was caught in upper level winds with some pieces of a roofing felt and paper landing here in Springfield, Missouri. As I walked down our street about 5 houses away from home, I saw something tumbling down out of the increasingly gnarly looking sky. It came down a few yards away and I leaned over into the yard to grab it. It was a piece of paper about 1 inch by 1 inch. A neatly cut piece of a page from some kind of school textbook. The cut had been through a paragraph, so it was only portions of sentences, but the words were, "and causes hot air to rise, the formation of tornadoes." I honestly thought I was losing my mind. I kept it with me for many years until it disintegrated. It sounds just as ridiculous every time I retell the story. I got a postcard in the mail in 2018. It was sent by my parents when they visited China in 1997. I was dumbfounded and thought I was being pranked. It just took a very long time to get delivered. Had a really down and out moment a few years ago. Just totally broke. Wanted to buy flowers and chocolates for my wife for her birthday. It was about $80. Has $6 in my account. Sat outside on a bench and got really sad. It was really windy. And like a movie, I was just sitting in this desert town. Something struck me in the face and stuck to me. It was a $100 bill. Going to Spain 1 year, then going back 2 years later and staying in the same hotel and seeing the same man both times. I spoke to him and he had just traveled there both times at the same times I did. Insane. One time, I saw a woman on the street drop her phone and 5 different people around her all reached down at the exact same time, like a perfectly choreographed scene. It didn't feel real. Having a phone call with my mom's attending doctor in emergency, saying she's got about 5% chance to live, based on the damage cover did to her lungs. She gave me power of attorney, and I had the final say if they had to pull the plug or not. She freaking beat those odds, and is still healthy to this day. September 11th, watching the second plane slam into the second tower from the street, everything reverberating. No one was in charge, time slowed down, nothing made sense. Was hiking alone in the mountains, when a sudden fog rolled in. Complete whiteout conditions. As I was trying to figure out my bearings, I heard bells jingling, and out of the mist, appeared an old man with a staff, leading about 20 goats. He nodded at me without saying a word, walked past, and disappeared into the fog with his goats. The entire encounter lasted maybe 30 seconds. Seeing Donald Trump become president. Twice. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more. Have a nice evening. Tell your friends about me.